So one thing that came up coming back from the beach from Florida, my mom brought up, and she considered, seeing in the media some people sentenced for crimes against children, and you can insert what kind of crimes I am talking about with children, and she felt that the sentences were too lenient. And, one thing I see in comments of news sections, of course, people are always going to hate on the defense attorneys in those types of situations, and it is what it is, whatever. But they also go after prosecutors and judges. First off, as I've said before, we have a job to do as defense lawyers. Everybody's required or has the opportunity to have an attorney and have a defense to the best of their abilities, and that is all charges, and I stand by that. Another thing is, my mom didn't think about this, but I was telling her, I said, you may consider it lenient, and maybe it is, maybe the allegations were true and it was a lenient sentence, but you don't know what goes on behind the scenes. So if a plea is not worked out with a defendant accused of this type of crime, then that means a trial. So if there is a child victim, the next step would be a trial. And think about that. A trial means getting on the stand in front of a big courtroom full of people they don't know. It's going to be answering questions for a jury of 12 people that they've never met in their lives. Two attorneys are going to ask them questions that they're comfortable with. And there's going to be a big judge, a judge that's sitting higher than them, telling them to tell the truth and making them conduct an oath. And so, that is terrifying. I still get nervous when I go to trial. I think prosecutors do. I even think some judges get nervous with a trial, and that's not a bad thing, right? But I'm an adult. As part of my job, once I get the ball rolling, I get excited. Think about a kid in this type of situation after, if these allegations are true, after enduring that trauma, going through a trial. So that is why oftentimes you may see what you consider a lenient sentence in these types of cases. It might be easy to get mad at the prosecutor or the judge, or the defense attorney, but if they all came together to work out something that everybody can be okay with, to avoid a trial and avoid a child being put in that situation, I think it's easy for the public to not think about all those factors and think about all those things. So that was just something that my mom hadn't ever really thought about. When I told her, she's like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. I can understand some of these sentences a little bit more now. So I thought I would share that information with all of you, because maybe it's something that you didn't think about either in these types of situations. So